Hello, my star children. How are you doing tonight? Just a chill indie night. So tonight what we're gonna do is I'm going to be trying to build the Age of Ashes free chill main campaign map using the Dungeon Alchemist campaign, or the Dungeon Alchemist map builder that I was so graciously given the opportunity to try out, and which I am dearly loving so far. So, we'll see if it keeps that way. Alright, so let me see if there's a way I can show you the map at the same time that I'm doing this. Maybe. Well, no, it does not want to do that. Hopefully this is... Nope, that's not what I wanted it to do. There we go. And then... there's this one. That's me. Come on, show the PDF. Maybe if I open it in an actual PDF reader, it'll behave. Open. What? I have a better idea. We're gonna be smart about this. Yeah, I know it's not what you expect of me, but hey. Here, just going... Take that screen capture. Add image. There we go. So that's the map we're trying to sort of build out for everybody to enjoy. Now, notably, I think we're going to have another case of creators don't know how big things are. Get that out from in front of my face there. There we go. Because 900 feet means that, see, so 900 feet would mean that this, hold on. Okay, so, this whole side can't be more than 1,000. So, it starts hiccuping if we get a map that big, so we'll divide into quadrants instead of 50 by 50s. So with that in mind, let's build the front gate area. So let's get a wall. Village. I'm looking more for a road at the moment. Okay. They come into town, and the wall and guardhouse would go off this way, and alright, now we've got our first building here. It's a village. Let's go with let's go with the bakery. No, it's right at the front, so it's stables. Duh. Apparently that's what that's meant to be. I think the only stable is in Castle, maybe? Stables, yeah. So I'll have to adjust, but... And of course, they want this thing on an angle. So we're just gonna make do. I wonder if it's possible to... It'd be really cool if we could just paint the walls on. If that makes sense, just draw the walls along. Or can we? Might as well look. See a way to do any general one, but let me see if the maybe. Nah, I think I'll just have to deal with the walls being mildly unmarked for the moment until I figure out a better way to do it. I'm not gonna waste more time on it. This little one up here will be the coach house. Mostly just wanted that wall on a different side. Can I get you to do that for me? Perfect. There we go. And honestly, we'll just go ahead and make this is off. Start with sand or dirt when drawing roads and then draw the road over top of it. It'll give it a slightly more natural feel. Because that always tends to happen with roads, especially in this time period. Let's go up here. Try and fit these two houses over here in. And this must be the Breach Hill Archives. And assume we'll start the bridge right about here. That'll put a breach off here. And a breach down through here. Oh, do we have Demonic Star Sun?
I forgot to turn off Demonic Star Sun. My bad. It is one of the many point redeems, yes, but I forgot to turn it off from the last time I used it, which was my fault. One moment, real quick, I'll be right back. There we go. That's better. Now back to building. How am I meant to make these a little wider? Totally up to you. This is just what I'm doing tonight. This looks like a mansion to me, so we'll... Yay, fanfic. Guard. We'll scooch out this street a little to make up for that. Then on this side, dining room. Pantry. Actually, that should have been kitchen with a small pantry off the side. Yonkies. And actually, we'll put pantry up here. Let's see, village. What does this pop up like, I wonder? Oh, it probably pops up kind of like the city does. That'll be useful in some other spots. Once we get into the more dense areas. That does make me wonder, can I then... Oh, nice. That'll be fun. Breachill Archives go here, and that probably counts as a library, I would think. Of course, we'll have to straighten it out a bit because it's not quite a perfect way to get a corner, but that is a way to get a corner much easier. Oh dear. Well, at least they're close together, so you can just show up at 11:25. In worst case scenario, you got to sit around for 20 minutes. You know, there's certainly worse things. Let me pop this up so that people can see it in the future. Yep. That's what I'm thinking. And Gotta remember that it's additive. Now we can get another one of our fun little alleys. Yeah, that's good enough. Over here should definitely go the barracks, I think, or at least one of the barracks. Should always have one near an entrance. Probably a small traveler's chapel near the front gate would not be amiss. Two more. Stick the armory. Here, and then an alleyway here. So I think looking at this map and looking what I'm working with, I don't think I'm going to try and do every section of the city. I think I'm just going to do the sections that have what's the word I'm looking for, that have places of import in them. Because I don't think anything in the gazetteer or the map explicitly gives anything on Breach Hill's design or folks. Yeah, they're all described, but there's no maps for them. So I'm pretty free to explain that how I want, which is good to know. Yep. Okay, so it's just this map to work with. Good to know. Because if none of these take place inside, then I don't have to worry about being super accurate, and I can just make the general area so that, you know, every time they go to these places, they can feel like they've actually gone there instead of just me saying, oh yeah, to, you know, welcome to the shop. All right, so this one has a black roof, and I don't really know why, but it feels like that should be a smithy to me. So we'll do a few residentials here. They are slightly smaller. Actually, we'll no, that's fine. And we'll go ahead and delete that one, and we'll just make the smithy a big one. And everything else is kind of off map for here. Let's go back to the walls. Oh, there. Is this a draw wall? Or is this a... Nope. Yeah. Not what I had hoped. Actually, that's a thought. What if I was cheeky about it and did it this way? Castle. I wish there was just like a wall option, you know? My players don't need to see the inside of this, and I'll just change the wall style. Yep. Guess I gotta remember to put those all right, I can expand it out. I could just keep going. Entirely possible. Let me think about it. We'll use this as a chance to just draw the water out here. Like I said, I kind of want to keep these on a couple of different maps. I need a bridge. Objects. Engineering. Come on, gotta have a bridge for me to... Ah, bridges. There we are. But what if I don't want the full bridge? All right, turn the collision back on. Yeah, we'll call this the archive section. Call it that. How to brush out these streets a little better. A little smaller and a little less intense. Right. Feeling pretty good about quadrant 1 here. And we're going to switch over to a new map. Know that barracks are going to continue across as our wall replacement. Put it near the edge, so you don't have to think about it too hard. trees. Hey, Dungeon Alchemist, how you doing? It's good to see you dropping into the stream. Great to see that you actually have your own category now. Well deserved. You needed it. So much fun. We're just painting some happy little trees right now. I mean, I am going to be spouting off about how amazing this thing is for forever. And if you guys keep improving it, I'm going to be astounded. I have been GMing for 20 years, and this is the first map builder that I've actually enjoyed using. I normally hate these things because they're so finicky and so hard to work with, and I way stress out over them. All right, now let's see this lumberyard. That's what I was doing. We'll have a farmstead stand in for this lumber building, I think, here. Let's see. That goes off that direction. Let's swoops down here. A little close to the wall before it lounges off in this direction. Oh, I'm super excited. I don't know if anything that you'll do, it will impact any of the maps that I'm working on right now, but I'm already stoked for the snow stuff and for a few of the other things I saw. I'm blanking on the list at the moment. If you have a list or a link, now would be a great time to drop it. Let's see here. Actually, why don't I just grab your Steam page while I'm thinking about it? I've got it right here.
Dungeon Alchemist is an AI-powered map-making app.
I was just saying that I couldn't remember all the new updates that are coming, and so I was just going to post the link so that people could go read them instead of me trying to remember. Yep. I'm excited for all the snow stuff. No, the lumberyard's not technically a garden, but you know, just stick one here because that feels. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Epic. I'm excited. Of course. Happy to do so. I'm going to be streaming for another hour or two yet while I work on these maps, and I'm going to be enjoying every moment of it. Let's see here. This one is going to be a doozy because this one needs to be a whole giant town hall and the monument circle. This thing is at least 300 feet, so... Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3. 30. This thing's about 300. I think that'll have to be big enough for demonstration purposes. Oh, that's an actual town square, not a town hall. Okay. Interesting, interesting. Let's treat this as a great hall then for the purposes of building. Now that will be great for Monument Circle, which will be more like a monument odd sort of shape. We're on Twitch, so long as it's not a big corpo, nobody will complain at me. So why don't I go ahead and, because I want to watch some stuff while I work. You guys don't mind, right? Right. It's nobody even here. Let's see here. Always with the god of shrinky dink things. And we'll put a little thing over it just in case someone wants to be meanie about it. So let me see. That's strange.
Master Starson, another has brought their flock to us. Grace us with your welcome.
Raid. Hayes. Hey, Hayes Shift, how you doing? How are you doing? I did not expect a raid. My apologies. I was distractible. Hello, Hayes and friends. I am GM Starson, your consentical tentacle monster. Today I am building maps and watching YouTube. So, hope you're excited for that. I'm using this new program called Dungeon Alchemist that I'm very excited about. That is got some super cool functions and features. Um, where did that go? Blast it all? Hmm. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, it is now peer into the crystal ball.
Back, and for some reason that made people furious with him. There's a kidnapper on the loose that you might be able to help find. We're seeing more big updates with the horrible Tyree Nichols situation since the videos were released. We've got to talk about all of that and so much more on today's brand new
Now, back to map building.
Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. Is Mr. Beast a disgusting, exploitive monster, or is he a hero? Or both of those arguments have been flying around the internet for over a day now. And that's because over the weekend, he uploaded a video titled 1,000 Blind People See for the First Time, where we see him work with a surgeon to perform an operation on blind and partially blind people that would allow them to get their vision back.
They can't see, but we have all the technology to fix it.
Yep, half of all the blindness in the world is people who need a 10-minute surgery.
But the thing is, a lot of these people just don't have access to it or the money for it, even though it's life-changing. With a number of people sharing their stories to Mr. Beast and his team, you know, one person in the video saying blindness stopped them from working, another saying he's never been able to drive a car, but this procedure changed all that. And of course, because it's Mr. Beast, he didn't just stop at the surgeries. He gave one guy a Tesla, others got money.
What does this say?
Doing pretty good, though. How were you today? What would you stream?
Here you go.
Oh my gosh.
You also see him take this international with people from other countries also getting help, and in total changing at least 1,000 lives. And largely the response to this video has been very, very positive. People saying it's heartwarming, it's amazing, but also others saying things like, are we going to start celebrating people with resources giving back to people for entertainment only? He gave these surgeries to people who agreed to be in a YouTube video for him to monetize. How is that charity? And he just makes people dance on camera for basic human needs so he can make millions. As well as some that were split saying he makes a good impact, but in a borderline or maybe not borderline unethical way that benefits himself more than
I
he could ever help.
disagree. He's just a philanthropist in a capitalist society.
Actually, with the likes of Hassan Piker on this one. Personally, all things considered, I'm happy this video got made. The lives of 1,000 people and their families have forever been changed. Awareness about an issue that should actually be infuriating to you has been raised to millions and millions of people. He also donated even more money for future surgeries. And we'll share some of the concern with, filmed charitable content that is often meant to make the person who made the video just look so good. The good in this video and many of Mr. Beast's philanthropic things, like it just doesn't happen unless it is also attached to a video. That's a huge part of how he makes the money that also then goes on to help others. But also the fact that these people would not have gotten helped had he not made this video highlights how fucking ridiculous and infuriating our world is.
You watch the video, you go, oh, how cute and how nice. I watched the video and I'm filled with rage.
What's wrong with you?
That we shut off access to a 10-minute procedure because we paywalled it and decided that some people just simply can't get it. It's up to one YouTube guy to decide to make content out of it that people who are too poor can't just fucking see.
I am happy, or maybe the better word is relieved, that all these people got help. But it's horrible that we live in societies where these people would have been fucked if Jimmy decided, hey, I want to do another video where I give away an island rather than help these blind people. And the thing is, you know who agrees with that? Mr. Beast, with him tweeting out this morning. I don't understand why curable blindness is a thing. Why don't governments step in and help? Even if you're thinking purely from a financial standpoint, it's hard to see how they don't ROI on taxes from people being able to work again. Which, yeah, we've talked about similar arguments on the show before, although I do want to...
I think we'll use pools for...
work and are a burden to society, because that's just factually not true. But also, to defend Jimmy here a little bit, I think he only had a few characters worth of space, that Nuance dies on Twitter, and I'm sure he didn't mean it like that. But also, the fact that we have to argue about the financial benefits of this, it sucks. Where we're like, hey, if you remove the heart from the situation and, just the feeling, the need to care for your brothers and sisters who are lying there bleeding on the ground, financially, it just makes more sense to pick them up, patch them up, and get them out back in the world. Because unfortunately, the further people or a problem is from us, the less we can connect to it. So thanks to capitalism, we're like, but what about money and how this might impact your taxes? expenses or to just inconvenience you in some way. But yeah, that's a story. Some might take away.
Here we are.
Of course, I'd love to know where you stand on this. And then, breaking news, corporations are fucking you and they're not even texting you back after. With a new report using industry data finding that in recent years, utility companies have shut off power to millions of mostly poor, non-white, struggling Americans. And at the same time, they've squeezed out record profits.
Yeah, the Monument Pool has
salaries. Right, by the numbers, utilities companies cut off service an estimated
6
million times during the first 10 months of 2022 alone. And that's a massive jump from the year before, with electric shutoffs spiking by nearly 1/3 and gas shutoffs by 3/4. Reportedly, all it would take to help the people who at that time can't afford their bills is a tiny fraction of profits. Right, for 12 large companies examined, the collective customer debt from all the shutoffs amounts to just 1% of dividend spending. So while you're huddled in your cold, dark apartment just trying to survive, there's some investor rolling the last year paycheck into a joint off Martha's Vineyard. And as the climate crisis pushes temperatures further out to the extremes of hot and cold, people are only going to need more heat and AC, which will then drive up the prices, and the problem just gets worse and worse. And then, if you're in the online dating Oregon right
should
now,
see if there's a
guy, swipe left, because that is 36-year-old Benjamin Obadiah Foster, and he is suspected of kidnapping and torture. With police kicking off their search for him last week after they
Well, that's bad.
victims bound, unconscious, and near death. And this reportedly is not his first rodeo. He allegedly tied up his girlfriend back in 2019 and beat her viciously for 2 weeks, but was then convicted on lesser charges and released from prison 2 years ago. And even before that, he was charged with domestic violence, battery by strangulation in 2017. And the thing is, right now, while he's on the run from the authorities, he's reportedly using dating apps to lure unsuspecting women into helping him escape or potentially to find more victims. Also, police saying they may have shaved or dyed his hair, so he might not look exactly like he does in this photo. But if you do see anyone resembling that face, do not engage with him because he may be armed and dangerous. Just contact the authorities. And especially if you're in Oregon or in nearby states, share this guy's photo on your socials. You may be part of the reason this monster gets arrested, or you keep someone safe. And then, if you have kids or you're still a kid at heart, you know how hard it can be to get them to eat all the foods that they're supposed to, like really hard. Right? Other children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise filled with 5 grams of sugar, and it can contribute to a variety of health issues. So thank you, Hiya, for sponsoring today's show. Other kids' vitamins, they can have ingredients like gelatin, palm oil, or allergens like wheat. But Hiya vitamins contain no sugar and are supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals. Vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, folate, and many others, helping to support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more. Hiya vitamins are also vegan, allergen-free, non-GMO, and taste great. Also, did I steal some from Trey and Carter to make sure? Yes, I did. And these ship straight to your door every month with a cool reusable bottle your first month and eco-friendly refills after that. Plus, we worked out a deal for you beautiful bastards. Head on over to hiyahealth.com/DeFranco to get 50% off your first month of Hiya. Keep your kids nourished with vitamins that they need without breaking the bank. And then, so this guy stole from the cops and then they saved his life. Right, so this started around 2 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta on Saturday when an officer pulls someone over for a routine traffic stop. They're talking for less than a minute and the cop suddenly flips around and sees some other guy jacking his patrol car.
Yo, back up! Get out of the car! Here! 1410, someone just got in my patrol car.
He takes it, books it down the highway with the emergency lights flashing, and he makes it about 8 miles before losing control in an intersection and flipping onto these railroad tracks. With the cops then catching up to him and scrambling to pull him out the broken front window as they hear the train horn blaring in the distance. They know they don't have much time, they're doing it, and they eventually drag him from the wreckage mere seconds before the impact.
Looks a little funky, but
facing a whole bunch of charges, and these cops, I'm sure, reeling from the whiplash of going from high-speed chase to life-and-death rescue operation in a minute. Which, I mean, much respect to these officers, unlike, of course, the next story that we're going to talk about. Because the last thing we have to talk about today is the Tyree Nichols situation. Because on Friday, the police released the footage of the violent arrest, though calling it a violent arrest doesn't feel right. It feels more like it was just a witnessed execution. And it was just as bad as it was described, though hearing that he was beaten like a human piñata and actually witnessing it are two drastically different things. Now, as a heads up, I am not showing the footage in this video. It is readily available. I think it is important that people watch it, but I'm not going to force people to watch it. It is traumatic and devastating. But that footage, which we will talk about, comes from both body cam and surveillance cameras. It was released in 4 different videos that run about an hour in total. Now, in the first video, which very notably doesn't show why Tyree was pulled over in the first place, we can see officers yelling profanities at him, forcing him roughly out of the car. Tyree is heard saying, "I didn't do anything," as officers begin to force him to the ground. From there, the officers continue to wrestle Tyree, who does not appear to be resisting them, repeatedly saying, all right, and trying to comply with them, even as they shout a ton of different orders at him. Or they tell him to get on the ground when he's already there, tell him what to do with his hands while they're holding them. And the entire entire time, they're holding a taser, saying over and over again that they're going to tase him, also threatening other violence, with Tyree seemingly trying to comply with the confusing and simultaneous overlapping orders. Also at this point, officers reportedly sprayed pepper spray in Tyree's face, but Tyree was able to get up and run away, with one officer unsuccessfully deploying a taser to try and stop him. They then chase him, more getting called up. They eventually catch up with him. Video also catching this interaction between police who remained at the first location.
I hope they stomp his ass.
And from there was a second video, which was recorded by a security camera on a pole without sound. Meanwhile, the third and fourth videos were taken from different police body cams, and while some of the footage on the ground is obscured or not shown entirely, they do both provide audio. And from there, we see the officers quickly take him to the ground, hitting him as they try to restrain him. One officer repeatedly pepper sprays Tyree, who can be heard screaming in pain and calling out, "Mom, mom, mom." And notably here, lawyers for Tyree's family say this happened just 100 yards from his family home. The officers are then seen kicking and beating Tyree. A fourth officer then arrives with a baton and begins to strike him, with the officers alternating holding his arms and violently punching his stomach and head repeatedly, even as he's clearly restrained, with Tyree eventually handcuffed and dragged to one of the officers' cars, where he's propped up in a sitting position. He is in clear need of medical attention, groaning and pain, but despite that, at least 7 officers who are on the scene are patting each other on the back, waving flashlights in Tyree's face, one even fist bumping another. And then a few minutes later, when 2 medics finally arrive, they don't really do much besides help Tyree sit up after he repeatedly slumps over, clearly unable to hold himself up. In fact, it took the medics more than 15 fucking minutes after the beating before they opened up their bags and gave medical aid. And a little after,
good grief,
an ambulance arrives with reviews of the footage, finding that he sat by that car for 24 minutes after being taken into custody. Right, so obviously, reveals how truly fucking horrible this whole ordeal was. But also, a thing that I wanted to touch on here with this footage is that it shows officers repeatedly making claims about Tyree and his behavior that are not at all supported by the video, and in fact have been actively contradicted by the DA and other officials. For example, 2 officers claimed that he reached for his gun, with one of them saying he also swung at him. But literally none of the footage police released showed that. At another point, one officer said the traffic stop took place because Tyree wouldn't stop his car and then swerved like he intended to hit the officer's car. But again, we have no video to back that up, and the Memphis police director has said that the department can't substantiate the reason for the traffic stop. And throughout the encounter, some officers seemed to allude to the fact that they thought Tyree was on drugs, though no public evidence has indicated that was the case. And so there, you have many experts.
Use dining room.
Important to note, because this is an example of police utilizing body cameras to influence narratives. Right? Essentially, the idea being, if we know that part of this is going to be documented, why don't we use it to plant seeds to justify our actions? Also, of course, another big aspect of this story was the reaction that we've seen. Right? In preparation for the release of the footage, Memphis's public schools canceled after-schools activities on Friday, and many businesses boarded up windows to brace for looting. But for the most part, protests were scattered and largely peaceful. In Memphis, we saw groups of demonstrators gathering downtown and taking to the streets, with some of that group blocking the I-55 bridge. Protesters also reportedly halting traffic in LA, Portland, and New York, the latter of which shut down Grand Central Station in anticipation of the demonstrations. In Los Angeles, one of the protests became tense after people gathered outside the police department and tore down a protective barricade, though none were arrested. Meanwhile, officials said that 8 businesses were vandalized and 1 person was arrested during demonstrations in Hollywood, Seattle, DC, Atlanta, other major cities also seeing people taking to the streets. But again, the nationwide violence that many were bracing for never materialized. And so, with this situation, we saw a lot of people calling for police reform, saying the way police responded both during and after the violent incident, right, the things like, I hope they stomp his ass, that all that shows is a much broader problem of police tactics and their failure to follow any kind of standardized rules. And actually, to that point, after the release of this video, Police Director Saralene Davis announced over the weekend that the department would be disbanding the Scorpion unit that the 5 officers fired and charged with Tyree's death belonged to. With that unit, which is short for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods, was launched in 2021 to tackle rising crime in the city, consisting of about 40 officers that would drive around, sometimes in unmarked cars and wearing plain clothes, making traffic stops, hundreds of arrests, and seizing weapons. And while Davis initially said she believed that the unit was effective at reducing crime and didn't want to disband it, she changed her mind after pressure from the public and Tyree's family, with the police saying in a statement, "While the heinous actions of a few cast a cloud of dishonor on the title Scorpion, it is imperative that we, the Memphis Police Department, take proactive steps in the healing process for all impacted." Now, on that note, many have argued that while this is a good first step, it's just that. A first step. This including the lawyers for Tyree's family as well as city leaders who called for more reforms and changes. And that's also something we've seen echoed by many others broadly across the country, by saying this is yet another example of deep-rooted flaws within the policing system. But despite the fact that lawmakers in Congress from both parties have widely condemned the death of Tyree, it is unclear if reforms are actually going to happen. I mean, as far as what we've seen in a statement on Friday, President Biden called on Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which would implement a number of federal policies to reduce police misconduct. While the House previously passed that bill back in 2021, it was blocked by Republicans Republicans in the Senate. And now, even if the Senate Dems could somehow pass a version, it would likely be dead on arrival in the House. Though notably, people have pointed to other possible reforms that could be passed in more pared-down bills, like one that was previously proposed by a Republican senator but blocked by Democrats who criticized it for not doing enough. But also at the same time, some Republicans are already spreading doubt here, like Jim Jordan, who bizarrely argued in an interview this weekend.
Well, I don't know that there's any law that can stop that evil that we saw. That is just, I mean, just difficult to watch. So I don't know that any law, any training, any reform is going to change. You know, this man was handcuffed. They continued to beat him.
Which, I mean, I do want to just point out that is the exact same argument that many people use for abolishing the police. So it's pretty stupid, but also kind of amazing Jordan's able to use that as a cop-out for inevitably blocking any legislation. But for now, we're going to have to see what all happens and what all follows. Because even though the video was released on Friday, this is still a developing situation. But I mean, just as I was recording today, the Memphis Police Department confirming that a 6th officer was put on administrative leave in connection with Tyree's death. While the department didn't say exactly what role he had played, a lawyer for the officer told reporters that the first of the 4 videos released by the city came from this officer's body cam, but also claiming that he was never present at the second scene. And that is where today's show ends. My name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
And with that done, let me see if there's anything else interesting on the YouTubes. That I could show. And probably not, to be honest. Well, I think 3 sections is good, all things considered. You know?
GPU sag, it can be a potential concern for some people. Please don't
Right. Well then. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I'm just done with map making for the moment. So let's go ahead and exit. So save then exit if we're going to be fussy about it. Okay. What to do?